too much time, but I will offer you people an opportunity to ask questions at the end. Few of you probably know anything about me. I'm a lawyer. I've spent most of my life litigating against the government. I've litigated against the government for farmers. I've litigated against the government for ranchers. I've litigated against the government for miners, gold miners. I've litigated against the government for people caught in all kinds of government problems. And it's been a very discouraging exercise. And I think one of the messages I'd like to spread on my campaign is just how bad things really are. Because I don't think that even those of you who are tuned into politics don't realize the degree to which the Democratic Party has become a bunch of pod people from the planet government. Now, if you're a pod person from the planet government, every decision that the government makes, virtually, is the right decision. And anything that they do, you should get your deference, and you shouldn't really question it at all. And that's why we have things like the spotted owl listing, where there are more owls in second growth forests, but nobody can cut any old growth because, oh, they need the old growth. We have armies of federal employees running around sabotaging other owls because first it was cutting down the trees that mattered, and now it's the owls that matter. And all along the way, there have been people in Oregon telling the truth about these things, and the judicial system has not given them the time of day. I've been on the losing side of a lot of these fights. And I want to say that, ironically, one of the things that I would like to do as Attorney General is go out there and lose some cases. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is an Attorney General who is not a pod person from the planet government will look at a law, and when he sees an agency trying to reach out and stick 3 permitting requirements on a business instead of 1, he'll say, wait a minute, that's not what the law really says. And there are many opportunities, you don't really maybe understand it, but every day in the courts of this state and all over the country really, Attorney General people get up and they say things that are crazy. If you go to my website, you'll see a month ago I was in front of the Supreme Court of Washington, and the issue had to do with whether giving your money to a park employee to pay their salary is a tax refund. Washington's Constitution says that if you have gasoline taxes, they either have to be spent on highways or refunded. They ran out of money. They used the money to pay the state employees. We went in and said, wait, that's unconstitutional. 8 judges later, 1 judge agreed with us. And now we're in front of the Supreme Court. But think about it, for example. How screwed up are things when 7 out of 8 judges can't tell that paying state employees with your tax money isn't a tax refund? This is not an extreme example, okay? Let's take the Constitution. I approach things from a very constitutional perspective. I'm most comfortable with the idea that we can fight all we want about this thing in the abstract and that thing in the abstract, but every problem that we have, and I'll challenge anyone from the floor to dispute this, every problem that we have is the result of ripping up the Constitution and treating it like a piece of toilet paper.
Yeah.
That in substance, of course, is what Obamacare is all about. As far as the pod people from the planet government are concerned, you all are cows. And the government should decide what you eat, the government should decide what medical treatments are, and after you stop giving your tax milk, you know what happens then. This is an ugly situation. We are in dangerous times. Now, most people don't seem to recognize that. You recognize that because you're Republicans. What are we going to do about this? This is a heavily Democratic state. We're going to have to sell something to the Democrats. I want to give you 3 themes that I think you can stress in my campaign and in others about what we are about that Democrats can understand and perhaps even agree with. The first theme is accountability. We all know that the state of Oregon is run by this one-party elite that operates sort of like something out of Stalinist Russia. And we also know that every time one of them screws up, they always get away with it. And that's why somebody tries to put a computer system in the Department of Motor Vehicles. $500 million later, we don't have anything. Now we have them trying to build a bridge over the Columbia River. Several $100 million later, we don't have anything. And nobody ever loses their job. Nobody is ever called to account for it. It's just like, well, this is the way things, this is the way it's a good process here, and like we're making progress. And gosh, okay? Even the Democrats are sick of this, aren't they? okay? Now, the idea for the Democrats, and what you say to your Democrat friends is, let's celebrate diversity. Let's have at least one candidate elected to statewide office who's a Republican, whose job it is to hold the other people accountable. How about that?
Yeah.
You may think that Republicans are going to go out there and steal things out of the mouths of babes and put fences all over everything and ruin it, but the Attorney General doesn't do that. He just holds other people accountable to the law that's there. That's your pitch. We can hold people accountable because we're not part of the one-party Stalinist overlord group. So, theme 1. Theme 2, simplicity. Why is the economy in the toilet? The economy is in the toilet because it's a terrible thing to hire an employee. It's a dangerous, expensive, complicated process. I know that. I have one employee. And I spend a lot of my time doing stupid paperwork. But it's not just stupid. It's redundant. It's oppressive. It's 50 pages of rules when one would do. I went down to court to file a complaint a couple of years ago. This line going out the door of the clerk's office.